How do people start to feel natural whenever they are imagining their dreams? Because this is one very important point that most people might have some issues with while they're studying Neville Goddard's material or any material of the mind. We want to learn to feel natural whenever we are imagining whatever goal it is. I don't care what your goal is. As long as you don't feel natural, you know it's difficult to achieve, right? So through this video, I want to share with you some ideas that can help you make it easier to reach that point that it feels natural, so you can manifest and achieve what you want once and for all. Alright, welcome back. Today I wanted to discuss a couple of things that Neville Goddard talked about in his book, The Power of Awareness. In it he wrote a chapter called Failure, which is very important if we want to understand how to make our dreams feel natural to ourselves, because as long as it's not feeling natural to us, it's always very difficult to do any work that needs to be done in order for us to manifest whatever we desire. And that's the thing that trips people up. It's that feeling of naturalness. If it's lacking, you don't actually have the power to make something happen for yourself. So through this video, we're going to sort of discuss this from a couple of angles that can hopefully help you see how you can start feeling more natural within your own being, so that you can manifest whatever you desire. Now, Neville wrote the following concerning failing in this aspect in our lives. He said, what is the reason for failure? Well, the answer is the most important factor in the successful use of the law of assumption. The time it takes your assumption to become fact, your desire to be fulfilled, is directly proportionate to the naturalness of your feeling of already being what you want to be, of already having what you desire. Now, the fact that it does not feel natural to you to be what you imagine yourself to be is the secret of your failure. Regardless of your desire, regardless of how faithfully and intelligently you follow the law, if you do not feel natural about what you want to be, you will not be it. If it does not feel natural to you to get a better job, you will not get a better job. The whole principle is vividly expressed by the Bible phrase, you die in your sins. You do not transcend from your present level to the state desired. Now, he said a little further on, the essential feeling of naturalness can be achieved by persistently filling your consciousness with imagination, imagining yourself being what you want to be or having what you desire. Progress can only spring from your imagination, from your desire to transcend your present level. Now, what you truly and literally must feel is that with your imagination, all things are possible. You must realize that any change in your life is caused by a change of consciousness. Now, you may fail to achieve or sustain the particular state of consciousness necessary to produce the effect you desire. But once you know that consciousness is the only reality and is the sole creator of your particular world, and have burned this truth into your whole being, then you know that success or failure is entirely in your own hands. Now, this is a very important stuff that he talked about in that chapter on failure, because I think any person is going to be confronted with this. As we study the power of our imagination, we slowly but surely hopefully learn to apply it and see for ourselves how powerful it is. However, where most people get stuck is that they don't feel natural at all when it comes to their dreams. Now, this is so good. The way he described it is so good. You must literally feel and believe that with your imagination, all things are possible. In order for us to develop such a belief, we need to have built the experience in our own lives from the realization of our imagination. We need to build experiences. We need to become aware of what our imagination is doing concerning the results that we're already achieving within our lives. We need to become very skillful at analyzing our lives to see how our mind is influencing and creating the results that we're experiencing. Because once you do that, it becomes easier and easier to believe in what he also wrote, that you must literally feel that with your imagination all things are possible. There are no limits. Now let's get into a point where most people get stuck, because this is so important before we break this all down so you can hopefully understand it better, as we said. The most important part that we're going to deal with at first is our own comfort zone, you could say. The programming in the mind. Our current self-image is causing us more often than not to actually feel uncomfortable when we want to go for a bigger, greater life. So let's get right into it. If you recognize it within your own life, you might want to listen carefully. So feeling uncomfortable. Have you ever set a goal? It might be a financial goal, a career goal, relationship goal, a weight goal. Always these different areas that are so important for people, of course. Have you ever set a goal for yourself and you felt uncomfortable? Now, the way to describe feeling uncomfortable might be in different ways. You might be scared. You might feel a certain form of anxiety. You might have doubts, worries. I mean, whatever it is, it doesn't feel nice. Even though you're setting a goal for yourself that could create a great future for yourself and everybody around you. But still, there's something inside of us that's holding us back. Now, what's holding us back? Well, I briefly mentioned it. It's the old paradigm, you could say. It's the programming that is running the show. The programming within your subconscious mind, first and foremost. Now, the way we describe the subconscious mind is it being the emotional mind. So what we're getting at here is essentially what Neville suggested you do. You need to feel natural in order to achieve what you want. You need to feel natural whenever you are imagining your goal. You need to feel natural whenever you are imagining yourself already being and having what you desire to be and have. Now, this programming, what happens is that when you set a new goal beyond your current reality, of something much greater that you have never achieved before, it's gonna be in conflict with the old way you've been living, with the old way you've been thinking, and mostly how you've been feeling about yourself. Now, if you change the way you feel about yourself, you'll change the sort of life that you'll be living. Make no mistake about it. This is very powerful. And it's, again, something you can do for yourself, and it's also up to you. And you can do this wherever you are. But most people make it so much more difficult than it has to be. So in order for you to feel natural towards the road of achieving your dream, you're going to have to understand, well, how is your mind programmed right now? Why is it programmed the way it is? How did that happen? Well, this didn't happen overnight. The way we program and change our minds is usually through a certain period of time with constant repetition of a certain idea. So what we're getting at here is that we want to learn to consciously and deliberately focus day in and out on this new version of ourselves that we've built through our imagination. Because as we're doing that, we're becoming more and more familiar with that concept within our consciousness, and as it becomes more embedded within our minds, it ultimately shifts the way we feel about ourselves. So what most people perhaps do wrong, you could say, is that they're doing this for just a little while. They might have a great idea, they might feel great about their potential, about the future they could create for themselves. They have this great dream in their mind. But then after a few days, or maybe a few hours even, they're already out of whack emotionally with the dream. But what you want to learn to do is stay consistently focused on the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Now in the next part, we're going to describe to you the process, a 3-step process through which you can generate that feeling of naturalness so you can achieve whatever you want. Whatever the goal is, just pay close attention to the next segment, and it's going to show you step by step what needs to be done in order for you to change your mind and then keep it changed, and also change your feelingness concerning the dreams you now have so that they can finally manifest. Alright, let's switch over to a voiceover and put a picture on the screen that we've shared before on previous videos that we call the stick version. Now at first glance there's a lot of text on here, but I'll explain it for you so you understand the process hopefully a little better on how to make your dreams feel natural to yourself so it can manifest properly. Now if you look at the top of this picture, it says the actor's technique. Underneath it we said the two mental faculties you need to use, an arrow to the right saying imagination and willpower. So remember clearly, in order to change your life, in order to make your dream feel natural, you're going to have to work with your imagination and willpower. Now let's go to the first step that you see underneath there with the large circle. It says focus mentally on your dream. Now with this we mean use your imagination to focus yourself on the sort of life that you're after for yourself. So you want to focus on the sort of results that you want for your life. Whatever the area is that you pick, you want to use your imagination to see it clearly in your mind's eye where you want to go. The second step is to be emotionally consumed by it. Another way of putting this is saying fall in love with your dream, because love is not a mental state, it's an emotional experience. You could also say you have to make sure you feel passionate about the dream you have built in your imagination. And this is the thing. People can always imagine what they want, whatever it is, but if they don't have any emotional response, well, the third step won't be executed properly, which is below where we said be emotionally consumed by it. There's a line going down to a smaller circle. It says acting on new ideas. Now that is supposed to mean your body is going to act on the ideas you first built in your imagination. These will determine the results or manifestations of your life. Now at the bottom we said you will be inspired to act on your dream. So again, think about this clearly. Step 1, 2 and 3 are the steps you need to focus on in order to make your dream feel natural, because once it feels natural, you will automatically be compelled to act differently. And as you start to act differently, the results and manifestations of your life will change around. That's what you're witnessing right now with my channel. That's what I'm honestly doing in my own life concerning the goals I have. And this is what you could do yourself. In black, on the right side of the picture, in the middle. We even said it again. The concepts of your mind express themselves with and through your body. So, this is something you really want to study for yourself. If you've never looked at it like this, you might want to go back to this part of the video after you finish this and really look at it and really think about this picture. Really analyze it very specifically and clearly for your own life. And again, we start with our imagination by focusing on the sort of reality we want. Then we invoke our emotional response by falling in love with our own dreams. We have to want to make sure that what we're focused upon is something we can truly feel positive emotions about, where we can truly feel like this is what we want. Once that happens, you'll be compelled with your entire body to act on these ideas that will be attracted to you by the concepts you built through your imagination and that you're emotionally involved in. So at the very bottom of the page, we said, it's our old habitual way of living that we need to replace with a greater vision we have created about ourselves and what our lives will be all about. Now this is the process. This is how you can make your dream feel natural. And these are also parts on how to overcome the things we discussed earlier in the video concerning not feeling comfortable when you set new goals. Well, again, at the bottom of the picture, we explained why that is. It's because of your old habitual way of living. And in order to change that habitual way of living, we're going to have to change the concepts in our minds. At first, it feels awkward and weird. But through repetition, by daily focusing on this better, brighter future for yourself, you will start to learn to feel natural concerning these possibilities that lie dormant within yourself. Now let that sink in. And again, as I said before, after you finish this video, come back to this part if you want and study it very carefully, because this is really going to help you. for this last part, I wanted to share with you another technique that is kind of fun to do, because this is all tied to the idea of the actor's technique, being an actor of some sort. Well, what do actors do? Well, they get a script. The script describes to them what their character is all about, how they react, how they respond in their environment, in their world. So they need to study that. They need to become one with their character. That's what a good actor does in order to portray that character on camera. Now, what we want to do, even though we may be actors, you might be an actor in your life, I don't know, but most of us aren't. But what we want to do is take that concept and use it to our benefit to create the sort of life that we want. So the technique means you write out for yourself your ideal life. And as you write it out, you basically describe in words what sort of person you would be if you were now living your ideal life. By writing it out, you can look at it, you can read it for yourself, and then you just want to understand, you want to become that person. You want to become in harmony with that person. You want to be in harmony with it. Now, understand what an actor does. They're not just repeating words from a script, even though many of the words are in the script, but they're actually becoming one with the character. They are living the part. That's the point you want to grasp. Once you write out your own script about your future, you want to start living the part. Because the way you want to look at it is, this hand is your imagination, this hand is your current reality. Now, through your imaginations, you can build a wonderful future for yourself, and your current identity, the current way you're living, they need to come together like folding these hands, and you need to allow them to work in harmony with each other. So you start to outgrow and build your way out of your current reality into a better one, and that better reality is being built according to your imaginary state. Now that's the technique, and the best way to do that, to take advantage of that technique, is first to write out for yourself again what your ideal life is, so you have a pattern to work with. This is what most people skip. They don't want to take the time almost, or they're not aware that this is the trick. You want to become very clear on where you want to go for yourself. So use whatever you can in order to make it clear. Don't just entertain it in your mind alone. Use these techniques in order to build a bigger and clearer picture for yourself of your ideal life. So then your consciousness, based on what we discussed earlier in those 3 steps, your consciousness can then adapt and change accordingly, and it's going to become expressed with and through your body. That's just the way it works. The concepts within your imagination always are trying to seek expression with and through you. And this is how you become natural in you acting on your dream, by clearly understanding this process. Because if we don't understand it, there's always a sort of doubt in our minds, a little bit of worry, a little bit of anxiety whether it's going to work out or not. We might have a dream of being rich or whatever, successful, and then because of that doubt, well, it's holding us back. It's like a blockage within your consciousness that you need to get rid of. And the way to get rid of it is by understanding how your mind works, and by also clearly understanding that these negative feelings of worries, doubts, fears, anxiety, whenever you're focused on your dream, first and foremost are because it's not in harmony with your old way of living, with your old mindset, with your old programming. But you can change the programming, just like a computer. You'll remove the old programming, install something new. Right now, through our imagination, we're basically installing a better, greater version of ourselves within our consciousness, so that that can then move into form with and through us. Now this is the trick. If you truly grasp this, then you'll start to feel natural. I can promise you that, because that's what I'm feeling myself. It didn't always feel natural for me to talk about the mind, but I've made it so clear for myself what the goal is of these videos, of what I want to share with humanity, that I don't have any issues doing it right now. Now I'm looking at my screen real quick. Minor errors there, because I think I wrote some interesting stuff that I still wanted to share with you on the screen. Yeah, I wrote the trick is to realize our minds have been programmed with the self-image we currently hold. with this technique of writing a story about yourself from a better, more successful angle, it takes repetition and focus on this idea so it can make it a part of your habitual way of thinking. Once that happens, you will see things start to improve in the direction of your dream. Now, if we approach our dream as if it is done by a bigger, better version of ourselves, we must learn to act the part right where we are, just like an actor, so it will make space and it will start to manifest over time. It will move into reality. Now let that sink in. And again, as I said earlier with that picture, those 3 steps, you want to take the time to go back to that part of the video and analyze those steps. And then once you start using those steps for whatever goal you have, you'll start to see that I'm not lying to you. If you hold that idea in your mind, that vision within your imagination, it will start to attract the ideas you need. But don't forget, you want to feel good whenever you think of your dream, because the greater you feel, well, the better the ideas will be that you attract. We always remind you of this. And the greater you feel, the easier it also becomes to feel natural concerning your dream. Because whenever you're not feeling natural, again, it's because it's not in harmony yet with your current self-image. But keep working at it. Your self-image wasn't made within a day, and it usually also isn't changed within a day. But by knowing this process, you can change it pretty rapidly for the better. And then you'll see some improvements happen once and for all. So there you go. This is the way you can make your dreams feel natural, so you can achieve whatever you want. Again, if you study those 3 steps very carefully, and then use those ideas and aim them towards a goal that you have right now for yourself and your life, you'll start to see how you can make it happen, because you're using your mind to your own benefit instead of using it against yourself. Whenever we doubt, fear, worry, feel anxious about whether we can achieve something or not, we're using our minds against ourselves. But through these techniques, you'll start to learn to use it to your own advantage. And then, as you gain more and more experience in these methods, you'll start to feel more and more confident in yourself. And then the feeling of naturalness, whenever you set a goal, becomes easier and faster. This is what we're after. It's like one saying in scripture, I think, in all thy getting, get understanding, know thyself. Anyways, with this being said, never forget that we are the dreamers.